Hello and welcome. You're here with me, Chatty Tumbler, and today on this DCS video I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to fly one of the campaigns that you can buy. And to find the campaign, if you wanted to buy it and follow along, to go into the DCS webpage, go to the eShop and campaigns. There are a chunk of campaigns. What we're going to do today is the F16. There is only one campaign available for it, unfortunately. Let's just have a quick look at that. Why did that not come up? There we go. The F16 campaign, and it's the Red Flag campaign by Bunyip. Unfortunately, you'll need to have the Nevada test map if you want to fly along, but it's not a bad little campaign. It's 10 little missions. So once you bought that and installed it, when you go into your C drive, wherever you've got your main install for DCS, this folder for me, under mods, campaigns, and then Red Flag, this campaign is one of the few ones that you have all of the information is in a PDF rather than in the briefing notes, or on your knee pad rather. So we're going to do mission 1. There's a campaign guide that explains all the scenario, tells you about all the normal things for getting in and out of targets and that kind of thing. But we're interested in mission 1. Oh, that's not my second screen. Let me just drag that across. So the mission is we're Colt 1 in all of the missions. I've played through the campaign pretty much to mission 8 out of 10, so I'm just going back to number 1 for the video. So I'm part of 4 F16s and we're on a strike mission. And it tells you all the information that you need for the campaign, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but all you need to do is look for wherever Colt 1 is. So we're here, Colt 1. So what we're going to have to do is we are supposed to taxi at 10 past 9, and we take off at 9:15. And then we need to be at waypoint 7, which is why it's showing you 7 here, and we need to orbit until we leave. We're doing the strike package, so we are strike, we're blue. We leave at about 2140 is when we leave that waypoint, and we're supposed to orbit at probably about 18,000 feet for us. And because we're the strike, we then scroll down and try and find Colt 1-1 and strike. So here's the strike game plan. We're Colt 1-1. So we're expected to hit the target at 2152, between 16 and 18,000 feet, and we are going to be doing the early warning radar with GPU-12, so laser guided bombs on the early warning radar. And if we look down, it even tells us what we need to set our bombs for. So we're going to use nose and tail fusing with a 6-second arm delay. I'm not going to bother with that bit. We're going to fire them singly, but in 2 pulses, so it'll be one after the other, 75 feet apart. As simple as that. And then it says we're hitting DPI 1, because here we are again, Colt 1-1, and DPI 1 here. And if we look down, we've got a little picture, so it's a little radar site. There's lots of trucks around, but we're hitting the little radar, which is right in the middle next to a truck, so it should be very easy to spot. And then it tells us what the channels we'll need for, so channel 4 when we're taxiing, channel 16 when we're in the air, and channel 4 back again. There is air-to-air refueling, but I've done all of these missions, and so far I've not had to refuel. It's there if you kind of want to do it for practice. Let's get into the game, and I'll see you in a second. So here we are in DCS, and we want to do the campaigns, but before we do that, there is a setting that somebody has highlighted it in a video recently on YouTube. If we go into gameplay, so on the gameplay tab here, down the bottom, it says no force from mission use mine, so you can turn that on and off. It is recommended that you turn it off, because what that does is, whilst it may do things like show you where you are on the map and that kind of thing when you've got it on, what it can also do is cause problems with some of the triggers. So if you want the mission to play as the designer wrote it, have that turned off. To find the actual campaign, we're going to go into campaign on the right here, and it's going to show me the list of campaigns that we have. So depending on how many planes you've got, all the planes will be down here, and when you click on them, you'll get all the official campaigns, and then you can make your own if you need to. So the F16, we've only got one campaign. It's the Red Flag 21-1. Like I said, I've only done 5 of the missions already, but I'm going back to mission 1, so we're going to play it again. And here's the brief that we get. It doesn't really say very much. It kind of is just the situation. It just tells you look at the slides. There are other campaigns that have like full text in here and explain everything, but this is a very PDF driven one. We can look in the mission planner, which can be useful. And we'll wait for that to load. It's going to look very busy because there's a lot of strike packages and escorts and things. So we are at Nellis. What we can do is we can try and find us. Oh, that was a lucky guess. Okay, so that's us. We're Colt 1, the player. And what we need to do is we need to get airborne. We're going to fly along this route, and then at the holding point, and then we're going to push from the holding point, and then our target is waypoint 10. So waypoint 10 is where we're going to do our bombing, and then we fly home again. And what we could check if we wanted to is all the flight levels that we're supposed to be at, but I'm going to do that in the cockpit and show you how we do that. And if you don't want to go into the mission planner and you can't work out what your target location is, I'll show you how to do that in the cockpit as well. So let's get airborne. Here we are in the cockpit, and it's going to be a busy old airfield. It looks like the rest of my flight are already starting up. And there's the combat air patrol getting ready to go, and the B1B at the very end there, ready to do some bombing. Not going to make this a tutorial, I'm just going to start my aircraft up and do it the way that I do it. It may be wrong, or may not be the way that everyone else does it, but it seems to work. And what I'm just waiting for now is the RPMs to go up to just over 20%. Okay, and then I'm going to uncage my throttle. Should start kicking up, and then everything will kick in when it gets to just past 60%, and then I'll start doing all the other stuff. The 16 for some reason is a little glitchy. There are times that if you try and change weapons, if you flick the wrong buttons, it just won't kind of engage as 16. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds just to make sure everything kicks in. Okay, it's gone past 60, so we should be okay. I'm going to turn on my IFF. I'm going to leave my lights on for now. Turn my radios on. Oh, so close the cockpit. Unlock it. I'm going to put the parking brake on just because I keep forgetting and I will occasionally hit the joystick. Electronic countermeasure suite. Put on semi. Turn on my helmet mounted display. So when I look out the windows, that should kick in a few seconds when I put some power on, which might help. I'll get rid of this little joystick. And flick these on. So I've got a head tracker, so I'm really trying to keep my head as steady as I can. I do normally just kind of flick around the screen looking at stuff. These are all the power things. So what I've turned on is all the systems there. Oh. There we go. So the INS is going to align. And that's going to count down. And when it gets to 10, it'll start flashing, and we know that we can change it to from stored heading to navigation. This is powering all the radar and the targeting pod and that kind of thing underneath. The seat on. Change to radar altimeter. I'm going to change it down to QFE because I'm an ex-British air traffic controller, and I think planes should always have 0 when they're on the runway, even if that's not right. That's how I do it. And if we look outside, we have got 2 paveways. That's the bombs. We've got some air-to-air missiles. We've got the targeting pod, and we have a jamming pod, and we have 2 massive fuel tanks. So one thing I care about with the fuel is when the big fuel tanks are empty. My fuel gauge is here, and that's kind of my total fuel at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my external wing tanks, which is these, and when this line says it's empty, then I know I can jettison them. This is all stuff that we can do while we wait for this to come up. What I am going to do as well, because I'm in air-to-ground mode, is I'm going to align my head tracking, just in case I need to be looking at the ground and targeting anything. Shouldn't have to, because I'm going to do 18,000 feet, but it's another thing we can do while we wait. So that INS is almost ready. Should be any second now. There we go. Got a flashing a line. So that is done. The time right now, if I just return here, is 21:10. We don't need to taxi for another 9 minutes, or 8 minutes. We've got plenty of time to do all these procedures. So I'm going to bring up list, and then these are all the little sub options. I'm going to do miscellaneous, HMCS, which is your helmet, which is R for recall, airborne. And then I'm going to sequence, and then I'm going to hit select. I've got this little cursor here, and then it's kind of the weapon release button. You press and hold it. I'll show you that in a second because not many people do it. So I've got it relatively close, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 0 and 0 again, and then with the radar cursor keys, which is what you normally use to move your targeting pod around, you put this cross at the top is what I'm looking at. I want to get, see this cross here, I'm going to get that as close to the middle as I can. Maybe, there you go, and hit enter, and then hit sorry, select again, and now I'm moving this cross at the bottom with those radar keys, and again, and then I can just hit return, and that's the helmet aligned. So now if I've locked something on my targeting pod, when I look at it out the window, that will be exactly in the right place. If you don't align it, what happens particularly on a long flight is you'll lock something on the targeting pod. Say I lock this, when I lock this and I look out the window, the cross might be over here, it'll be out. So it's always worth doing it for an air to ground mode. Let's sort this out. That's all sorted. Make sure I've not missed any buttons. No, I think that is kind of it. So that button I was talking about, this one, the enable switch to press, that's what I was using at the beginning when I was aligning my helmet. I just press and hold that, I use it as the enter key until it starts all of its thing. We have got 4 minutes to go still, so let's have a look at what stores we've got. I'm going to turn the master arm on and the laser arm now, because I'll forget otherwise. It didn't say anything about changing the laser codes for my bombs, which is why I started my aircraft up. If I needed to change the laser designation code, I have to do that before I get airborne. So with right shift and K, I've just brought up my knee pad, and it's telling me that my default code is 1688, and that's great. If the mission had said, oh, you need 1588 for the JTAC, then we do it before we start the engines. And we do that with right shift and right alt, and then 9 and 0 and minus on the keyboard. I have done a laser guiding bomb video. If you have a look at that, it does explain how to do the laser guided bombing. Let's have a look at our weapons page. SMS is stores management page. So we've got guns, fuel, 2 bombs, some sidewinders, and some AMRAAMs, which is a winner. If we go to edge ground mode, come out of infantry. So I'm going to set this up now. So we've got the 2 GB12s, that's the laser guided bombs. I want them, it did say single, it said 75 feet spacing, so let's change that to 75 feet. Enter, and it said a ripple of 2, so we can do that. Enter. It said nose to tail. There is other controls if you go into this one. This is where you change things like how long it takes for the bomb to arm before it launches and that kind of thing. Don't worry about that. Release angle 45, you don't need to worry about that either. That's to do with dive toss bombing and that kind of thing, lob bombing. So come out of that. One thing I will need to change though is come out of CCIP, which is the bombing mode, and we're going to CCRP, which is the computer is going to tell me when I can release the bomb rather than me just having to work it out. So that's all good. Now we don't need that anymore, so we can put that on. We don't normally have that on. I'll leave that on that actually, because I'm going to use the heads-up display there, and I'll keep that there. We'll come out of vertiground mode, because I don't need that for now. Right, what we can do, still got a few more minutes left, is I'm going to change some of the information for my steer points. So at the moment, if I click on steer point, it tells me steer point 1, I need to be at 3,000 feet, and when I get to it, I need to manually change to steer point 2. So I'm going to dob down and hit select, and now that's auto. So now when I fly to steer point 1, once I'm over it, it will automatically go to steer point 2, which is great. We're now going to change steer points, and excuse me while my head moves because I'm going to just pick up my little notepad again. And from the briefing thing, it said I need to go to waypoint 7, and I need to be at 18,000 feet. That's great. And what it wanted to do is I want to leave there at 2140. So what we can do is, if we go into cruise, and then I'm on 7, if I come down, so my destination time on station, I want to change that to 214000, enter. And now when I get airborne, when I have that brought up, it will tell me what ground speed I need to get to that target at that time. And it's also a good reminder for me that I'm supposed to leave at 2140. The target is waypoint 10. And it wanted me to be there at 2152. Enter. Like so. So now I've got that as well as a reminder. And that is about it. That's me kind of set up, and that's what I do at the beginning of every sortie. Certainly if I'm doing a ground attack sortie anyway, that's all set to go. The time is 21:09 and 10 seconds. Actually, let's return, and we want to go back to steer point 1. Let's just check, see what the surface wind is. Okay, so it's really calm. That's just the predicted wind there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to... Oh no, I don't need speed up time, I can taxi in about 30 seconds. So with my... me show you these keys. I think it's in the UI layer. This one here. So time accelerate, time decelerate, and time normal. So I'm going to use that during the flight just to speed up the game when there's quiet bits happening. So we can just speed up a little bit. And if you notice the clock down here, it's whipping up. Okay, so that's 10 past. Time for the squadron to roll. The park and brake on this is great. If you just power up, it comes off. And of course we're right in front of the B1B. So do you know what? I will get out of his way and not use the taxi path. Because I've just brought my whole squadron out in front of the B1B, and that's very poor airmanship. In fact, we're probably just going to have to go because the game gets a little bit glitchy. I did a mission yesterday where I was in front of some F-18s and it just got to it, like nobody moved. Even when I got airborne and ordered the guys to get airborne, they just didn't do anything, and that kind of had to restart the mission. So hopefully they've got out in front of the B1B. F-18s are just going. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 we all got out. Yep, the B1's waited. Great.
Springfield 2, airborne.
So if I was requesting taxi and all that kind of thing, I should actually be on channel 4. So you can see on here where it says I'm on UHF here. That should be 327 for this airbase. And it's not, we're on the operational frequency. Right, make sure nobody's coming into land. They're all gone. The AI again is a little bit crazy. Don't hang around on the runway. I used to try and line up and let them all line up behind me. That doesn't work. They just crash into you, or they take off right into you. I'm just going to give them a couple of seconds to catch up. So he looks like he's going to do his thing. And let's go. Take off nice all steering. Excellent. Just lift it up. Gears up. The cross, the little diamond box, that's the waypoint, and it's also got height as well for it. And that little like tadpole there that's moving around, that's pointing me towards the waypoint. So at the moment I'm using 67,000 pounds of fuel per hour. Let's not do that. Let's cut that right down. Turn off the afterburners. Okay, 2's airborne. And if I cut the power even more, it should give the rest of the guys a chance to catch up. One of the great things about the F16 is it has an autopilot system. So I'm going to put steering lock on and altitude hold. And what that's now going to do is it's going to point me towards waypoint 1. And when I get to waypoint 1, because I hit that auto button on this bit, because it says auto, it will flick across to waypoint 2 by itself. What it doesn't do, unfortunately, is it doesn't adjust the height. So waypoint 2 I think is supposed to be 18,000 feet or maybe 12,000 feet. It will keep me at this altitude at the moment. It won't climb for me, unfortunately. Okay, they're all getting airborne. Use F2 to look outside one. Just make sure these guys are using afterburners to try and catch up at the moment. So I'm going to cut power a little bit more so that they can save fuel. We've got plenty of time anyway.
Pontiac, airborne.
Pontiac is the B1B, I think. So he's in the air now as well. He's down here. B1B. And as you can see, it's I've gone to waypoint 2 because we're on auto mode. It's now pointed towards it. I'm supposed to be at 17,000 feet, and I'm about 3,000, so I'm going to climb in a second. Let's get it pointed. The guys are joining up. And we should be able to speed up time a little bit as well once we kind of get pointed. I could do this manually. It's just lazy for me, really. We've got here the route. And what you notice is we got airborne down here and you don't have a waypoint. It's very weird. You think there's no line between the start and the first waypoint. So aim for the gap, first one, and then the waypoint you've got selected is the one that's got the dot that's filled in. So this is a waypoint later with nothing in it. And this is filled in, that's mine. The blue coloured guys, that means that they're in my flight. The green coloured guys mean that they're allied aircraft. And it's got the altitudes for all of them. And we can see a little bit if we zoom right out. We've got some SA-7s to worry about. And it looks like an SA-2 under here as well. So hopefully the seed guys will do their thing and clear it all for us before we get there. Which is why the time on task is quite important, or time on target rather. So I'm going to take the level hold off. And if you can see up on the top there, that's the diamond, that's where it should be. I'm just going to do a little 10-degree climb. We've still got, down here tells me how far I've got, 8 miles to go to waypoint 2, and I should be there in about a minute and 7 seconds. So we'll just climb up, and hopefully in the next few seconds, that's the rest of the squadron forming up, or the rest of the flight rather. So he's coming up.
Colt 1, Nels departure. Clear tactical, contact Dark Star, UHF, channel 16.
Colt 1-1, Dark Star 1-1, pop-up group 3.
So we are actually on
Colt 1, has fragged. Request Alcal corridor via the Mormon Peak.
Okay, so that's supposed to be me, my
Colt
voice.
1, Dark Star, radar contact. Cleared El Cow corridor via Mormon Peak. Shell tanker available, UHF channel 14. Tacan 83 Yankee. Arco tanker available, UHF channel 15. Tacan 94 Yankee. Picture available on request. Lowdown, South SA2 active. West HQ7 active. East HQ7 active.
So that's all the military speak, but basically that's through and flying out. That's the air-to-air refueling tankers that are available. You can have a look at Mesh's history actually. There we go. So that's the tankers that are available, and then it's telling me there are different training sites, different SAM sites around in the Nevada test ground, and it's telling me that the south one, the west one, and the east one are still currently active. And hopefully what will happen is the seed guys, the suppression of enemy air defenses guys, will come in, they'll knock some of these out, and it should make my bombing run a lot safer. And when you read those messages using that way I've just done it there, it does pause the game, which is useful. You can have a good look, and if you need to write down coordinates and that kind of thing.
1, airborne.
Okay, we're going quite slow, so I'm going to speed back up again. Now that he's caught up, and it looks like they've caught up. So this is my percent RPM, and I'm looking at my fuel flow as well. So what I don't really want to be doing is, and again nozzles, so if the nozzles kick open it means I'm in afterburner. So I'm just going to keep it about 95%, and then maybe actually aim for the waypoint.
Colt 1-1, Dark Star 1-1, pop-up group 303, 450.
See the waypoint
at 5
over there,
out
so
Colt.
we're quite far off it. Oh, it went to 3, that's why. Okay, it's not moving completely crazy. We've moved on to waypoint 3. This is the advantage of having it on auto mode. So 3, we're supposed to be at 17,000 feet. It may be, so here's my altitude here, you may see it slightly differently because I set it to be 0 on the airfield. But as long as we point out that hex, we should be fine. The higher we go, the less fuel we'll use as well, hopefully. So that's that. And we should be there in 2 minutes 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to autopilot on. Let it settle itself out. There's all the guys. And I'm going to speed up time. Let's rattle through it. Obviously, if I hear any radio message or if something comes up, I've got go back to normal time. I'm kind of hovering my fingers over the keys for that. So the autopilot's taking us now to waypoint 4, and we're supposed to be at 18,000, so we need to be a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that manually and climb a little bit more. Just put a bit more height in. Enjoy the view. Now if I push left shift and F10, that gets rid of all the labels, and you can still see there's a little tiny blue dot in the middle of my plane. You might not be able to see it, depending on what your resolution's like. You can push left shift and F10 again, and that gets rid of those little dots as well. So now it's just us, me drifting off course. Just make sure.
Forward 1 on station at 085 480 at 28,000.
So if we look on here, this is 60 miles, so these purple rings are 20 miles. Because we're on 60, when we get down to 30-mile range rings, these go down to 10 miles each. So we can have a rough idea. We've got about 20 miles to go to this waypoint, and then we're going to hit the next one and then have to do a hoiking left turn. Waypoint, that's going to be 5, that's 6, and then we're getting close to the holding point. And drifting off again, mainly because I don't trim my aircraft.
Colt 1-1, Dark Star 1-1.
So that noise is the fact I've been picked up by radar. So let's go to auto level. If we look on the new radar warning screen, in the recent updates, so this is what we're on now, kind of the beginning of February 2023, we've just had an update to the RWR, the radar warning suite, and we now get different noises and sounds, so and icons rather. So I'm being picked up by a MiG-29 at the moment, who's off on my left somewhere. If we look on here, because we've got AWACS, if there's nothing showing within 60 miles, I'm pretty safe. So this guy must be quite far out. In fact, they're down here, so 240 miles, so that is, 80 miles per ring, so about 100 miles away. There are 2 by the looks of it. Zoom right in here, we've got possibly 1, maybe 2 aircraft at 21,000 feet, and they're engaging my fighter screen of F-15s over here. So no real worry yet. I have set my radar warning to my countermeasures on to semi-automatic, so if a missile does launch and the computer thinks I'm in threat, it will do some stuff. We should have... Yeah, we've got the ECM pod, which was that long one underneath here, in the middle, right underneath my belly. So we can set that up. So I'm going to just fire all the channels up, and then you have... let me just show the key. This key here. Oh, let's get back into the F16. F16. There. If you push this key, the counter measurement switch aft, what that does is, you see where it all says S, they're going to change to A for active. So it's done that, and now what that's doing is, it has 3 different modes. I'm now in mode 1. It's going to listen out. If any radar tries to track me, when it's ready, it will fire a pulse to get rid of it. If I flick it down to mode 3, then that's like constant jamming, but I'm not going to do that because that's going to make it easier for stuff to track me, but not necessarily to lock on. So we're coming up to waypoint 4 now. Any second it should change to waypoint 5. Blink. And away we go. And what we can do is take off the autopilot. Just do it myself, because what I want to do in a second is I want to just remind myself which waypoint is the marshalling waypoint, because I know I put a time on that one. If I change the waypoint with the autopilot on, this one on, it will try and follow it like so. So if you're trying to get information for future waypoints, you just need to remember to flick this off. So off that goes. And then if I go into cruise and check to waypoint 5, there's no number, waypoint 6, 2140, so it is waypoint 7 is the one that I need to leave at 2114. So let's go back to 5. In fact, we can just keep cruise, and that will change for me anyway. Let me just highlight that because I care about time on station. Let's put the autopilot back on. Being picked up by radar. And I think we can probably speed up time. In fact, what I'm going to do is, because the way the turning circle works, is I'm going to switch to waypoint 6 now. And it's probably going to do a really lazy turn and go past it, because we need to be way over there in that bit. And all the dogfighting is happening over here. So yeah, let's just do it. Let's let the computer do a really slow turn. Now if there was a threat warn, if there was like a SAM site or whatever, I would keep to the flight line. But it doesn't really matter because it is now 21:26. We're due to be at waypoint 6 at 21:29. And I know waypoint 7 is pretty close because there's waypoint 6, there's waypoint 7, and that's the one we need to leave at 21:40, so we've got plenty of time. Let's just speed up time. Like so. That's all the little messages. But again, I can see everything out from 60 miles away. There's no threat warnings. Nothing's lighting up here, so it's not a problem if I speed up time.
All players,
Oh, there we go.
Darkstar, pre-push briefing. Full up war, visibility good with scattered clouds. Picture available on request. Lowdown, South SA2 active, West HQ7 active, East HQ7 active.
Okay, so that's telling me we're getting ready to do we're approaching the marshalling point. Picture just means if I talk to the AWACS, he will tell me what's going on, and that's the 3 SAM sites that we talked about. They are still active, so they're not being hit at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to force it to go up to waypoint 7. That tells me I'm going to be there at 21:31, so I'm going to be in the hold for a couple of minutes before I need to leave waypoint 7. So what I can do is pretend we're all military, and we're going to turn all the lights off, and be all tactical, turn all those off, and turn the formation lights off.
Colt 1-1, Darkstar 1-1, Bra 262.
Okay, and the guys have turned off all their little wing lights as well, but they've left their little tactical flashing lights on. And actually, we'll do it on a night mission, but the way that the number of these pulses, you can set it yours to have different kind of pulse numbers, and that way when you're flying in the night, you can work out which plane is which, based on how often they flash. Here we go. So we've got, what I want now is, just thinking about it, I'm going to come up to waypoint 7, it's going to automatically go to waypoint 8. I don't want it to do that, particularly as I'm going to be an autopilot. What I want it to do is just do a lazy orbit for me. So if I come out here, and I go into steer point, and then go down 1 into auto, if I hit 0, it's now in manual mode. So what will happen is when I get to waypoint 7, it won't automatically go to waypoint 8, it'll keep trying to keep me on waypoint 7. So we'll just do big lazy turns, which will be nice. I can talk about the flashing light thing, actually we've got a minute, so let me just pull the back in again.
Pushing from waypoint 7 at 30,000.
If we look on the back of my plane, let's put that one on. I've got the formation lights on as well. There we go. So if you look on the top of my plane there, on the very top of my tail, there's a light and it's going 1, 1, 1. If I then go into the cockpit, if I'm number 2 in the flight, there's a little, can't really see it with my head thing, but it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, ABC. So I now put it to 2 and go outside. That light is now going 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on. So I'm now number 2 in the flight for everyone else to see me. There you go, today's random fact. But we'll turn all those off anyway, because we're supposed to be warrior tactical. Turn all those off. Like so. Okay, the fighters are doing their thing. That's all going on over there. If we zoom out, but we don't need to zoom out 60 miles away, so I need to be a little bit wary, because if these guys don't win, we may have to go all tactical. You see we're at waypoint 7. I'm not touching, I barely touched the joystick since we got airborne. We're at waypoint 7, and because we've passed it, it's now going to put me in a lazy orbit. If I go into the cruise thing, that just gives me the live time and tells me and reminds me what time I need to leave. So I've still got about another 7 minutes to go. So we can maybe have a little bit of a look at the air war. So we've got our fighter guys here are attacking these guys. We can cheat a bit and go on the F10 map.
Pontiac on station at Bulls 092 for 80 at 22,000.
So that's my flight, should be in here somewhere. No, that's Springfield. We click on this button up here, and that puts onto me. So here's my guys. We're going round and round around waypoint 7 very lazily. And what we have is some F15s. And if I select something and then push F2, it automatically jumps to them. So these are the Flaming Cliffs F15s. We're very excited. The DCS world, the real F15 is coming out soon. So that'll change. And then we've got South Screen, which is some more F15s. They are armed up. Ah, that fuel tank reminds me. We can have a look at that in a second. And they are going to be engaging these guys. Some J11s, which are kind of the Chinese version of the Su-27, which is another version of the Su-33 and so on. It's a very heavily modded aircraft. There's a lot of versions of it. So they're going to fight. Now, I mentioned fuel just then. Check. We're okay with our fuel at the moment. When that gets to 0, that means my external wing tanks are empty. There's fancy stuff you can do with engine feeds and things, but I don't need to do that on this particular sortie. Just see how this battle goes on. So we can see them.
Colt
They are 20, 30-ish miles away.
450 at
If we go into F10, we can watch what's going on. We have a clock up here, so I know it's in it's based on Zulu at Alpha time, so local time and Greenwich Mean Time. So I've got about 6 minutes until I need to leave my waypoint. So we can speed up time a little bit. We'll watch what happens. Oh, here we go. Right, so unlock the camera from me. The F-15s here are now firing at the J-11s. What we do is we can click on one of those and push F6, and we can watch the missile going in. I know my aircraft is safe because it's on auto level and auto steer. Oh gosh, what's going on there? Oh, there's planes all over the place. Which ones are going to lock onto? Might be a miss. He's throwing himself all over the place, he's trying. Okay, that's me countering. So that's he's dead. So I want to just quickly check my aircraft. So these guys are all targeting each other, which is why we're getting that counter thing. So we obviously got picked up by the radar at that point. But it looks like they killed them all. So that's the F-15s did their thing. So that's that cleared. Still got 5 minutes until we're supposed to leave. Just going around.
Splash Bandit at full Springfield.
Bandits.
Pushing from waypoint 6 at 27,000.
So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and leave here around about 2140. I've got on the briefing it said 2140 to 2145. So I'm going to try and do an orbit that comes around at the right time, that we can just kind of at about 2140-ish. We can just push on straight to the next waypoint, which is this one here. It's all good. I don't think there's any more excitement planned. Oh no, the North group is engaging. So we have some SU-30s, which are the 2-seat versions. They are busy engaging the F-15s, and here's the closest missile here. So again, these guys are locking onto each other. We will occasionally get picked up by accident, and my computer can't handle that, so it's just firing the odd flare. It's not a problem. There's the plane there coming in, and smash. Splash. And he's firing back. The F-15's going to have to do a bit of jinking. Oh dear, that's not good. Boom. So we lost an F-15. Let's
Counter.
Ford 1,
Splash Bandit at bullseye 035 for 23 at 18,000.
Not sure where that last missile's going. That's it, they cleared it. So we lost an F-15 and we cleared 6 enemy aircraft. It's now 21:36. We still got a bit of time, but it looks like we now have air supremacy, or certainly air superiority, and the SA-2 site is still active. That's being picked up on my radar, so we need to be careful with that. And we can see that those big circles. That's SA-2 there. Those are the SA-7s. Just need to be careful when we get close. If you look at my route, it kind of goes outside of it, and then at the last second we cut in. So hopefully the seed guys, the air defense killing guys, will be done by then. Got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to just speed up time. It's probably going to be about 41-ish, roughly, when we finish this circle. So it's a big lazy turn. Now, if there were threats, or if I had to the route, I would definitely be doing this manually. But we can just do this in autopilot mode. So yeah, it's going to be about 41-ish. Great. So now we need to push from this waypoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to waypoint 8. I'm going to go back into the steer points, and I'm going to tell it to do it automatically. So,
Springfield 2, in from the east, engaging triple A at full 226 for 30.
so we're pushing. 22,000. Okay, I will do that because what I tend to find is the HA7. There's a missile anyway that's maybe the equivalent of the SA7. Has a range of 21 or altitude of 21,000 feet. So I'm just going to make sure I'm above that altitude by being above that hex. And what I can do is because I'm flying this manually now, autopilot's off, so I can have a quick look at waypoint 10 and see how far away that is. So that's waypoint 10 is 78 miles away. When it gets to about 45 miles away, I'm going to start firing with the targeting computer and get a good target lock. We're okay for now. So waypoint 8, get a bit of altitude. Let's see how we're doing with fuel. So our fuel is empty. Our tanks are empty anyway. So let's do that and level off. Just going to make sure I'm definitely above that diamond because I don't want to be just at the top range of a surface-to-air missile. Speed this up a little bit. Okay,
Tusk 1, pushing from waypoint 6 at 12,000. Springfield 1, kill Sam at Bull.
What I am actually going to do, thinking about it, is I'm going to go into the steer points and I'm going to take off auto because what I don't want to happen is I forget, and then when I'm coming towards the target, when I get to waypoint 10, it will automatically move it to the next waypoint, and if I'm targeting on something, the targeting pod is going to slew to the next thing. So I'm just going to do it manually. Alright, let's look at the threat picture. So we've got some more aircraft happening over the enemy site, but it's still quite far away, so we're good there. Is there more aircraft? Do you know, it might not be. They're firing missiles or something. Oh, that's air to ground. So this is all the kind of Tomahawks and things going in, or JSAW, JDAMs, sorry, JSAW, and the such like AGM-154s anyway. These are nice. So that must be the B-1B has done its thing. So that's hopefully the suppression of enemy air defences. Alright, fuel tanks. So we've got 0 on the fuel. So if we go into stores management page, SJ for jettison weirdly comes back out again. Go into stores management page and it brings up these. So I'm going to bring the 2 tanks up, and then as long as my master arm is on, when I hit the fire button, the 2 tanks go. If I tell my guys to jettison weapons, they, as in jettison the fuel, they will jettison their bombs, which is really annoying. So let's not do that. Let's go into edge ground mode. We want to go to steer point 9. This is the problem with having not auto advance on. It's tried to orbit me at 8. So let's just bring this back.
2, defending Sam at Bulls 165 for 8.
Okay, let's get back up over 22,000. Or very close to it anyway. So waypoint 9 is 38 miles away. Let's take off the autopilot bit. Auto level on. Let's have a go waypoint 10. Waypoint 10 is 52 miles away. The targeting pod in DCS doesn't render a picture until about 43 miles. So there's no point looking at it just yet. But we're kind of getting that way, so let's swap. Bring up the targeting pod. Let's make it white hot so we can see. And we won't be able to see anything. It's up here. So this line here, this is kind of the 43 mile render line. So there's no rush for that. What I can check though is make sure that I've got 1688 as my laser code, so that's good, that's the same as my bombs. And this says not soy because it's not the sensor of interest at the moment. What I'm
All players, Dark Star, stand by lowdown.
Okay, SA2 South is dead, so that's good news. So I'm going to make this the soy, like so, and then that means when I do any moving around with the cursor keys, which I use cursor keys for the radar cursor, it will do the things for me. Okay, let's have a quick look. So we're still heading towards waypoint 9, but I've got waypoint 10 selected, just so that my targeting computer, which is over here, so I've got a diamond in there now. It was always just a diamond before, now it's a box around it. That just tells me the targeting pod is now looking at the same place as the waypoint. And when we do get to about 40, in fact we're at 41 miles now, So we should be able to zoom in. Oh, that one. It's maybe behind a hill. Actually, let's zoom right in. Oh no, we can see it. There we go. Zoom right in. So we were going for the radar site. So let's do that. And I'm going to do a point lock just because I fly F-18s a lot, and it just gives me a warm fuzzy feeling to be in a point track rather than a area track. So I'm looking at this to see where waypoint 9 is, because what I don't want to do is bother about losing the radar at the targeting pod. But we can just come around this way. We can see on here, once it's dead ahead of me, I know that I'm pointing in the right direction. So there we go.
Springfield 2, in from the east, engaging triple A at bullseye 226 for 30.
Great.
Springfield 2, in from the northeast, engaging Sam at bulls 218 for 30.
So there's our little target. And looking at here, we've still got, that's at 30 miles, so it's about 10, just over 10 miles, 12 miles until we turn in again. Which will give all these guys time to do their stuff. We're supposed to hit that at 21:52, I think we're supposed to do. If we go onto the cruise page, yeah, 21:52. We're going to be there at the moment at 21:51 and 55 seconds. So we're doing okay. Particularly if that was like mission critical that I had to be there at 21:52, I would turn now. In fact, let's do it. Our new turning will take us away from that SA7, so that's cool. What I do need to remember to tell my guys to do is, now that we're turning onto the finals, is go into flight,
Pontiac, in from the northeast,
engage,
engaging Sam at bulls
mission, and rejoin.
for 27.
So these guys are now, hopefully, there you go, they're going to peel off and start doing their thing. And I'm going to keep this little gentle turn round, all the while adjusting my little radar. So what I'm aiming for is the wheel of the vehicle. Of these. So we're going to be 2 seconds late at the moment. That's not bad. 21:52 in 2 seconds. We can maybe make that up when we point at it. And what I want is, this line here is my bombfall line, and I want that through the centre of this. As I mentioned before, I have got a laser guided bomb video on the F16, and it does cover all of this in a bit more depth. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do as well is make sure steering is off, because if steering was on, it would try and point me directly towards the waypoint. And what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm directly on, I'm more interested in this line than pointing at the waypoint. So it looks like we're going to be 2 seconds late, which is devastating. We are 14 miles to go, and what I'm waiting for at this point is a bombfall line to come down. And what we'll do is two lines will appear, and there'll be a flashing circle. At that point, it will change. Bingo fuel. It's because you guys did all the afterburnering at the beginning.
Bingo fuel.
So we've got a few more seconds to go. The lot looks good.
Pontiac, kill Sam at bulls 248 for 27 210.
All players, Dark Star. West HQ7 destroyed.
Cool. So this is the bombfall line.
Springfield 1 on station at bulls 0.
Okay, bombs away.
5-1.
Going to turn, because what I want to do is keep, not fly directly over the target. Put that in that, and then we go around this way. Oh, it's got problems with the cloud. This could be bad news.
Springfield 2 defending triple
This may be a failed mission.
222 for 30.
So I'm going to fire my laser early and try and get that laser back on again.
Tusk 1 in from the east.
So
Engaging triple
looks
A
good.
at bulls
Boom.
079
Target destroyed.
44.
Okay, laser off. Go to waypoint 11. Go into steer points. Down. auto, put the autopilot on, laser off. Okay, we've got some enemy aircraft coming in. Let's go to air-to-air mode. We have got something here. So let me just take the pilot off. And we're going to engage that. We're in RWS mode at the moment. Okay, that looks close. Rifle. That can't be 4 enemies, surely. Well, it's pink, so. Let's try and pick up another one. What's that one?
Dodge 1, kill bunker at Bulls
Okay, there's another one.
210 for 17.
This is bad news.
Dodge 1, kill bunker at Bulls 210 for 17.
I'm going to go into dogfight mode.
Dodge 1, kill bunker at Bulls 210 for 17.
Bolt 1,
Ah, got me.
showtime.
Dodge 1,
We're dead.
from the west, engaging utility at Bulls 210 for 17.
Ah, well.
Darkstar 1 Dodge 1, kill bunker at Bulls
These are hard to fight in a turning battle.
Dodge 1, engaging bandit at Bullseye 226 for 15 at 13,000.
So my poor F16 is really struggling.
Colt 1 Darkstar 1 Bra 016 445 at 22,000 hot.
Okay, that's RTV. I'm dead, I shouldn't really be fighting.
079
It's all going so well. Right. Air-to-air mode off.
Ford 1.
Let's work out where we are.
020 for 15
Towards the next
at
waypoint, which is over
15,000.
here.
Dodge 1. Defending bandit at Bullseye 189 for 17.
What happened to the F16s? F15s?
Dodge 1. Engaging bandit at Bullseye 202
Guys.
for 16 at 9,000.
That's an empty plane. We lost that one. I got killed. Oh, these guys running out of fuel. That's the reason for that.
For 17 at 9,000.
That can't be good. I'm dead already.
A at Bulls 07944.
Let's turn away from the surface to air missile.
1 in from the southeast. Engaging triple A at Bulls 07746. Tusk 1 defending triple A at Bullseye 05746.
Altitude. Pull up.
004 Dodge 1 Splash Bandit at Bulls 210 for 21 at 9,000.
Is this guy behind me still fighting? I'm gonna run out of fuel if we keep doing this
Ford
then.
1 Splash Bandit at
Nope, they got
Bulls 012 for 16 at 13,000. Tusk 1 kill triple A at Bulls 05746.
Alright, let's, instead of going to waypoint 11, let's cut the corner a bit. Let's go to waypoint 12, 13, 14. Let's go to waypoint 14.
At 25,000.
Because fuel is going to be a problem.
Dodge 1 defending triple A at Bulls 222
So with the fuel,
for 21.
what I need to do at this point is I need to flick this back to normal, and that's telling me what I've got in my internal tanks, which is not very much. I've done that scenario a couple of times, never had that second group come, or that third group come in and get me, so that's quite cool. I wonder if that's a random thing. But the fighters, the Dodge guys, they were just a bit too late. Did not protect the package. We lost 3 of the F16s.
Springfield 2 on station at Bulls 104 for 21 at 29,000.
Okay, so I've been in a gentle climb because I'm trying to save on fuel. And we'll try and get this back to base. Put that on. Auto steer, auto level. And what we can do is, if we go onto the cruise page, if we go to the right, so the range, tells me how much fuel I have when I get to waypoint 14. I'll only have £2,976 left. And what I can do is, with the home key, so my home waypoint is 1. Well, actually, no, my home waypoint is 16, I think. And that's telling me that at the moment I should have, if I go at 40,000 feet, then I'll land with £2,100. Just make sure the waypoint, that is my waypoint, state point, 14, 15, 16, yep, so 16 is home. So we can still go back to 14. Let's go into that, back into the cruise page. There you go. So when I selected it,
check north for container.
Check north for container. Oh, so I'm coming out of the battlefield, out of the area. Okay, that's no good then. So let me go back to 14. I'm also leaving the exercise area. So let's get back in there. I still had enough fuel though. It said we would be okay. Looking at it. It's annoying that it does that though. Let's go this way. It'd be nice if I could just bring up that information on if I do. No, making this worse, stand by. You can't deselect it. Okay, well. It's counting down the fuel. It's going to be snug, but we'll get back. So what I'll do is I am going to go to back to 14, and I'm going to put the autopilot on, and I'm going to speed up time, and we'll see you in a few seconds. Okay, message just happened there, and if we could bring that up. So, Colt 1, in-flight report, target destroyed. Hooray, we're clear to RTB. So we can come home now. Not that there's anybody left. Everyone died, ran out of fuel. Which is weird because I had loads of fuel and they got everyone seconds behind me. So, very odd. Let's change to 15. We're back on the line then. Ooh. Don't look at the other guys are coming in as well. Heading towards this waypoint. And then 16 is home, so we will have to take control in a few minutes. What are we at? We've got 15 miles to waypoint 15, just down here.
4-2, pushing from waypoint 2 at 27,000.
Down.
Colt 1, Dark Star, push NATSIF, UHF Channel 4.
Okay, I'm obviously getting close to home. In fact, I'm 28 miles from home. And it's telling me to go to channel 4. So all we'll do is push comms 1. Go to channel, pre-brief channel 4. And then I can speak to air traffic, Nellis Air Base, and we'll
Colt
get back.
1-1, inbound.
So 2827 is what I had set anyway, because that's what I wanted it to be 0 on, and it's telling me to fly on a heading of 145 for 19. So what it's doing is it's getting me on a heading to put me on finals basically. I've got 19 miles to go if I go on a heading of 145, and that'll put me ready to be kind of 8 miles finals to turn inbound. So the problem with the F16 is it really takes a long time to slow down. I'm just going to keep an eye on the speed and just start bleeding it back off again. And the airfield is there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to land on the runway and then I'll vacate the runway and we'll call it quits there. I've checked, I don't think there's no like bonus points for bringing it back to the starting point and that kind of thing. As long as you get back on the ground, the mission ends. But if you wanted to, you could certainly taxi back and then do the full shutdown procedure. Right, we are coming in really fast, so let's wipe out some air brakes. Anything else sticking out there? If you've played the A10 Nevada campaign, which is probably one of the best campaigns out there for training, you kind of learn all of these locations and you get very used to seeing places like that because you come in over the top of it a lot. Is that the B1B coming in? That's the B1B coming in. Well, he's definitely got more fuel than I have, so he can wait. We're doing about 300, so let's close his air brakes down a bit. So it looks like the waypoint marker is on the left-hand runway, so we're going to land on that. And I want my touchdown speed to be about 160, 180, something like that.
Cleared for visual, contact tower.
Cleared for visual, great. So whap the gear down, contact the tower.
Colt, 1-1, request landing.
How's the fuel? We've still got 2,300 pounds and we're using 1,200 pounds an hour, so we could do this for 2 hours pretty much. We did okay at this speed. Just doing a lazy bleed off. And then if it gets a bit too slow, I can just power up a little bit. And what I'm looking to do is this little pipper, that's going to tell me where I'm going at the moment. I want to put that on the end of the runway that you can't quite see behind the strut. Just turn left a little bit. So I'm going to try and put that pipper at the beginning of that big grey mark. That's where all the tyre treads have hit the runway. Let's build up a rubber. So let's do that. So, nice lazy inbound.
Colt 1-1, check landing gear. Runway 21.
My gear is down. In the Royal Air Force, we say check gear acknowledge at 4 miles at this point. And as a pilot, you would have to come back and say 3 greens or gear down. I used to anyway, back in the day. So here we are. When I put my nose up, the speed's going to come down a little bit more, and we should hit the ground at about 160-ish. There we go. Bit of brakes. Just using the rudder to steer at the moment because I don't want to put my nose wheel steering on too soon. And we should be able to vacate. Come out here. The problem is the thing will roll. Yeah, I may have to go past it. Yeah, I'm going to go past it. Otherwise I'll end up skidding on the side. So go to the end of vacate. out. Call 1 runway vacated. Once across this line, I'll just shut it down. I'm going to park it over here. So that was it. That was mission 1 of the campaign. We got airborne. We flew to the target using pretty much the autopilot the whole way. We set up a time on target. We set up the time for leaving the waypoint. We bombed nicely using laser-guided bombs on a 1688 code. What else did we do? We got murdered. We dismayed to air. We killed 2 J11s, and they got murdered by the other guys. I should perhaps have not gone into dogfight gun mode. I've gone into dogfight missile mode, and or just stayed in missile mode and fired off the other 2 sidewinders. But that was it. I'll do all the shutdown in a few seconds, but I'll do that offline. I hope you enjoyed. So just before we quit out, I've hit quit, and it's given me the mission debriefing bit. So the 2 kind of bits that you kind of care about in a campaign, you have a mission score, so that's the things you killed in the mission and blew up. But the important bit is the results. So that's a score out from 0 to 100. And for most campaigns, you generally need kind of a 80 to 100, or possibly even 100 each time. So we achieved all of the goals that we had to do. And to complete to the next stage of the campaign, even though we got killed, it's the Nevada test range, so it doesn't matter that we got destroyed, because that's kind of expected in these scenarios. And if I go onto myself, Colt 1-1, it then tells me what I did. So I've got I took off. I was supposed to get airborne at 1:15. We were about 2 minutes early, which is why the B1B was we got in the way of him. So if I was to do it again and try and be more professional, that's what I would do. We're supposed to hit the target at 21:52. What we can do is we can put event kill. So that's what we got here. So we hit the target at 52 and 10 seconds. So we were 10 seconds out with that, which is not bad. But we did also get 2 extra kills. We took out that J11, the cap regen. Okay, so it was a second wave that came because the guys killed it so first. 1-3 and 1-4 of that flight. And that was it. I just hit end mission. Because I've played it before, it's telling me that I'm going to overwrite my previous scores. It doesn't really matter because I got 100. So I can overwrite that. That's not a thing. But what it has done when you do that is then it has reset all the missions for me. So I've lost all of those 5 missions. But that's fine because I'm going to play these again anyway for the campaign. But that's just something to be aware of if you go back and you're almost about to finish a campaign, you think, I just want to try that earlier mission. Don't overwrite your score because you will then lose all that progress. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, if there were some horrific things I did that were terribly wrong, please let me know. If there's other things you'd like to see videos about that maybe explain things in more detail, put anything in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and just generally chat. Until then, happy hunting everybody and stay safe. See you soon.